Alright, what is up, everybody? This is the Young Queen Cat.
And your man, Louis Lamar.
Smiley V.
And you're kicking it here with us at Star SküL.
Star SküL, not SküL.
Alright, you guys, so the first topic that we're going to dive into today is going to be personal and physical health. Not just, in our country, in America in general, it's one of those national things that they always talk about in politics and everything, but also within our community specifically.
We don't talk about it enough as a culture.
Right,
We're not talking about it enough.
Not at all. So I'll just jump in here, and just because I was doing a little bit of research for this, aside from all of the personal references that I know that everybody and their mama has when it comes to health, we all know somebody who has failing health, who is not in good health, and a lot of it is related to the foods and the diets and everything. Smiley and I were having a conversation before we got started today, and just how the rates of obesity and overweightness and things, diabetes and stuff like that within our community is like, it's like having the common cold now.
Yeah, for sure.
Way up.
Way up. And in the research that I was looking up, according to the CDC, the Center for National Disease, or Center for Disease Control, in the 1970s, or the early 1970s, there was no huge record of obesity or overweightness or diabetes or those internal issues. They didn't really deal with that. We have relatives older than that who were growing up in the 70s who didn't see people being affected by foods the way that they are today. Versus in 2015, that number skyrocketed.
It's way up.
For sure. Way up. So have you guys personally first, and then we can get into just like people that we know and family members and things like that, but have you guys had any personal bouts with health up until this point? Because we young people.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. I'm one to say, I definitely got very unhealthy. I had my son, got comfortable in a sense, and just didn't care, didn't watch what I ate, and then it was just too late. I had gained all this weight, and I really just started to get miserable, how? But during the time of me being unhealthy, I wasn't really caring, I wasn't really paying attention until it was already okay, I gained all this weight, now what am I going to do? So it's just don't let it get that far. Definitely just be careful, no matter what. Just continue to be mindful of the things that you're eating, because once it gets to that point, it could definitely affect you mentally to the point where physically it's not even going to be getting better.
So it drains you out physically, emotionally.
For sure.
But I think for me, I always like to play devil's advocate, obviously. But this is a real topic, so I'm not even going to go there today, not for the most part. But I think I have with the majority of people, how they feel about these type of topics. Like me, I know food is unhealthy. I'm highly educated, I'm highly intelligent, and I don't care most times. I'm not gonna lie, I don't.
You don't. A lot of people
I'm
don't.
gonna get that greasy burger with all that cholesterol and the butter.
Bacon.
Not the bacon. You lost me there.
No bacon.
No bacon. But on a serious note though, it is at home. I just lost my grandfather in January. He had diabetes for years. It was bad. He had lost limbs and toes and things of that nature. And thank God for my grandmother. She is very alert. She's one of the very few people who is very conscious of health and what's going on.
Yeah.
So she'll go to the doctors and she'll get diagnosed for her symptoms that she's having. And then she'll go home, go to the natural herb holistic website, heard of her own natural remedy.
Like that too.
For sure.
Those are where it hits home for me. And even I know that we was talking offline about how the obesity rate is in America and how it's predominantly the main target, the main victim is our black women, our beautiful black women. Shout out to my mothers, my aunties, my queens.
For sure.
And so this is real. This is real. It's relevant, and that's what we about. If it ain't real, we can't feel it.
Right.
But it's definitely something that we need to start being more conscious about. Last week we talked about something. We had some guests and we were talking about how her products, shout out to Bomb Bombs, they products have all those natural and simple directions on the label, so you can read it and you be like, okay, this is that. This isn't some quadratic equation that we're not going to understand. or it's not just some hidden stuff going on there.
Mm-hmm.
But really, we gotta be more. Let's water it down a little bit more than that, because this is a real issue. So let's water it down to the point that we make sure we understand how to read a label. Like, let's make sure we're doing those things. Like,
For sure.
I mean, that's you read that label, that's already a step in the right direction.
Yes.
Of not being that statistic.
Right.
You know, they said I'd be a statistic, but God, you know, shout out to the new sweatshirts. You know, we got them, cop them, comment, but that's a different topic.
And on the note of statistics, though, like, because a lot of the stuff scared me. You know, a lot of the things that I was finding out, especially learning that my demographic specifically has the highest rate of this, you know, internal disease and the obesity and the overweightness. Like, it's scary to know that, you know, to know that 4 in 5 African American women are overweight. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense, right? I mean, we're the ones cooking, right?
Yeah.
You know, like, it makes sense. And then, but it also, you don't want to get to that, because I mean, none of us sitting here are like vegetarians or anything like that, even though we kind of had a knowledge at this point that that's probably the best way to go if you want to live a long and healthy life. But I think like Smiley had mentioned, you just gotta not let it get so far. You can't let it, everything in moderation, right? I mean, we have here things that we want to enjoy, but everything has to be in moderation, and just simple things you could do in your day-to-day life that will help aid to you living a healthier life. Simple things like, you know, picking up an apple instead of some cookies. Like simple stuff like that on your work, or on your break while you at work. You know, if you have the ability to take that walk for that 30 minutes, just walk around the building, or, you know, go on your phone and take a walk outside if weather permits, or like little stuff like that you could do. I know I was looking into Dr. Sabi. And I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with him. He passed away last August. He was he was a nutritionist and an herbalist for life. He was really famous. And he has a lot of useful information online. I encourage everybody to just go check it out. But one of his main things I remember learning about was spring water. You know, we drinking water. Obviously, people are 60% water. Like, most of the stuff in our bodies is water, so you have to replenish yourself with water. But spring water, as opposed to like purified water or any other types of bottled water, is slightly better, just because it comes from a more natural source. Like, stuff like that.
I do not like spring water.
You don't?
I just have to drink
it's so crispy.
It tastes so weird. Like, I don't like to have. I cannot taste water. Like, I don't finish have the taste. And when I'm drinking it, it just tastes so nasty.
Hey, that water I got good though, ain't it?
Yeah.
You know, that's straight through the vapor thing.
Put
the filter on there.
Right. Filter water at home and everything.
And that's a small step of being conscious. Simple stuff, like you said.
Uh-huh.
You know, I think it was you, I'm not sure, correct me if I'm wrong, who was mentioning now that they take food stamps at these Whole Foods.
They do.
They take,
but the Whole Foods is all the way across town. So
and
they were like, I'm gonna
thing.
go to Kroger and spend my 50 stamps and get my 10 for 10.
Right.
Then go across town to the Whole Foods. But it's definitely more beneficial, and it is more healthier. They have a hot food bar that I try to go to a lot for my lunch too, instead of going to the Wendy's or anything. But it's so good. It's still the dollar menu, but Whole Foods prices are much less because but the food is still so flavorful and good, and you don't even know.
Not always though.
It is, just depending on what you get. They got some really good chicken. You wouldn't know that it was, it tastes just as like the nasty greasy chicken, but it's more clean. You can taste it when you're eating it, but
it ain't grandma's chicken.
It ain't grandma's chicken.
And not falling into those traps, as you just mentioned, like, the dollar menus.
Right.
Obviously everybody's crunching for money, no matter if you feel like you got plentiful or you ain't got enough.
Yeah.
It's easier. It's easier, so much easier to go get that 4 for 4 and get filled up versus, driving all the way across town when you live in a food desert and there's no supermarket within a mile of your home. But that's a trap. That's a setup.
It is. It definitely is.
It's not by mistake that these companies have whole departments where they do research and they find out demographics and they figure out what's really going on. They have this knowledge and they know for a fact that if they put this in this neighborhood,
for sure it's going to get bought.
Every
year they come out with, like at McDonald's, they have the triple patty. Then it comes out with an extra patty. They keep adding on all these patties and different things. They're like, we'll give you 3 slices of cheese instead of 2. Like, okay, it draws people. It draws people in like Lamar, but it's not good. It's
not though. But at least, but be like me. If you're not going to be conscious like the Queen Cat or Smiley Bee, and you're not going to take those steps, then at least acknowledge.
Right.
And be aware what you're doing to yourself.
The first step is admitting it.
You know, I have a problem. But no, seriously though, this is something that we really need to think about.
Yeah. Because you just don't want to get it too far. Like you mentioned, you lost your grandfather mostly and due to health reasons, and same with me. Like I lost my granddad way too soon. You know, in 2015 because of the health thing. And same thing with I have an aunt who just passed away, and she got cancer out of nowhere, and it was health related. All of these things related. Like, and it's scary because these aren't like they older people and they elders and everything, but you can live to you like 100. Like this should be you can live to you like 90 something years old, 100, and be lucid and move around and be happy. You don't want to have to be in such an ill state that even your death is a tragedy. You know what I'm saying? You want to be able to live and not just leave behind this great life, but even in your passing, it would be great to be able to, even go in a more peaceful way instead of be hurting and suffering because of the decisions that you made while you were still here. And then it can be fun too, right? Living a healthy lifestyle can be fun. It can be fun.
It can be fun because you do learn a lot and you just challenge yourself.
Yeah.
You just say, substitute those 3 Pepsis you drink for a day.
Right.
And, limit it down to 1. It don't have to, it don't happen tomorrow. It's going to take time.
Right now, listening to y'all two. She talking about it's gonna be fun. I feel like we talking about practice. Like
you can do stuff with your children. You know what I'm saying, and do physical activity. And that's another thing that I read across.
Maybe that's how we get forward is by making it fun.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. That was one of the things about the Obama administration, that Michelle Obama, her platform with helping children move and get active and live in healthier lifestyles. That was great because, again, we all know it starts with the kids. You know what I'm saying? It's so much easier to raise up strong people than it is to change somebody who's already an adult. And I found it surprising too that it's only 6 states in the whole country where physical education is mandatory for K through 12 schools. Yeah. It's not even like a mandate. I remember going to gym
No, but I was in 6th grade and I failed gym and I had to take it again.
Yeah.
My uncles were like, "How do you fail gym?" But it was like I didn't want to fully participate. Like I would participate in activities, but they wanted you to change every day into your gym, wear. And it's just no, I took forever to pick out this outfit. Like I'm not changing into that gym.
Y'all keep saying stuff that make me think about the CEO, Deontay Russo, behind the scenes. Somebody turn one of those cameras on the man real quick. But for one, he always tell a story about how his grandma Lee Bertha, is that the one who lived till she was like 99, 100 or something like that?
Oh, really?
And she eat bacon every day. I don't believe he eat bacon, but he was just saying, she lives healthy even though she eat what she wants. So it's a little mix to it, but whatever.
Everybody's biology is going to take to things a little differently, and then it goes to say that somebody who lived that long, when they was eating bacon when they was 20 something, is different from us being 20 something eating the bacon that
and it goes back to what we said last week about taught behavior. Like you said, if we teach our kids that fruit is healthy, my son's school, they're talking about that. He came back like, "Mom, I had a Gatorade, a Powerade. I love Powerade." And he's like, "Mom, you might want to not drink that because it's a lot of sugar in it." And I was like, "What did you just say?" He's 5.
He's 5.
He's like, "Mom, it's a lot of sugar in that." And I was just blown away. Like, "How do you know this?" And he's like, "Yeah, we learned that at school. It's a lot of sugar in that. So you might as well just pour that down the drain." And I was just like, "Wow." So that made me want to pour it down the drain because it's like my son is encouraging me to be healthy. He wants me to be here for him. He's 5.
He's like, "You don't take naps because you're too old."
I know that's right. So it's just the little things. Everybody, is may not have the willpower or just may not be ready at this time in their journey just go fully vegan or just to go fully, healthy and holistic. Everybody may not be ready for that at that time, but just the little things that you could do in your day-to-day life, stretching before you go to bed, stuff like that, that you don't have to pay for, getting oatmeal versus getting cereal you know, substituting things that still,
For sure.
you know,
For sure.
you can put some flavor in it using your cinnamon instead of your sugar sometimes.
Use
like,
that honey, that natural honey.
yeah,
Honey.
agave.
Drink your tea.
It's
Drink your
great.
tea. I love
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yep, tea and things like that. So, I mean, I guess on that, then we can kind of wrap it up.
Yeah, because we could go all day.
We can't go all day, but it's so important, and like you said, to at least acknowledge it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to know that it is probably ain't the healthiest thing I could be doing right now, because at least that in itself is a step in the right direction.
For sure.
But just trying to psych yourself out and telling yourself that this is, you know, this is the best you got.
And it's not as hard, because once you start doing it, like
It's a lifestyle.
it's a lifestyle. So much easier. Once you do it, it's so much easier. Like, it's like automatic.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not saying go crazy, go start counting
Starving
every calorie,
yourself.
go
Right.
start. You ain't
Throwing
gotta
up
do all
after
that.
you
Just
eat,
be mindful. Just be woke.
And pay a little bit more attention.
Y'all gonna give me, man. We start talking about that stuff. I'm gonna go we're gonna talk about how those freaking corner stores are all in the hood, all surrounding
Every
the
single
hood.
one of them.
And when you go to a nice
And
neighborhood,
run by people who
all the
don't
people
even
in
live in
corner
the
store.
hood. They don't even live in the neighborhood.
Man.
Oh, thank you.
They ain't giving back to the neighborhood or nothing. They come around because they know the people are
They can
desperate
make
and depressed and
bread.
they don't have
When they
anything.
break it down, they selling the singles.
I had to stop
They
too
selling-
because I was ready to go left again on that last topic. I was ready.
It's so easy to go left for our
Man,
topics,
that
though, because
help.
it's so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That shit real, and I just know how people can get numb to certain topics like that and be like,
yeah, tired of hearing it and stuff.
Just
I was
go find-
definitely one of those people until my granddaddy died. Like, even my dad's health scare wasn't enough for me to just be like, okay, you know, because I'm thinking, all right, it's cool. But when my granddad passed, I'm like, man, no, fuck that. I'm not about to be one of those people.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not going out like that.
And he
I'm going to
wouldn't
be
want you
happy
to
and healthy
Yeah.
and
Right.
running around and pass away in my sleep peacefully. You know what I'm saying?
Easy.
Like,
Hey man, shout out to our new sweaters. You know, our sweatshirt, we the culture.
So
You
cool.
feel me?
Right.
Star SküL.
Star SküL, hit us up.
They said I'll be a statistic, but God, you know, check us out.
And we also, you guys can get a glimpse of a lot of our new inventory on Instagram. That's Star_School, SKUL on Instagram.
Yeah, if you're not following the page yet, come on, you slacking. You slacking. Let's
I'll see
go.
what about you guys.
Yes, Black Girl Blush is in stock, and it's hot, guys. It's
Beautiful.
hot.
The colors are great. For the ladies, of course, out there, we know you guys are gonna like it. So just come check us out and, you know, see everything that we have to offer.
For sure.
All right, we right back at it though. Where we at?
Talking about the
Next
crab
topic.
in the barrel. Crab in the barrel. Yeah, crabs in the barrel.
Okay, so
So
are you familiar? Everybody's up here. We're familiar with the
we're
crabs in the
familiar.
barrel concept.
Yes.
yes.
But just in case anybody out there is not familiar with the crabs in the barrel concept, now and it's usually by fishermen and people out there fishing and stuff like that. But the concept of the crabs in the barrel, that concept is when a crab is almost out the barrel, it's almost out. The next crab is so worried trying to get themselves out the barrel that they pulling that crab that was almost out down. You constantly pulling that next person down, trying to pull yourself up.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a real issue in our community, like
For sure.
in our community in general, but especially as black people.
Mhm.
Like this is a real issue. Like just because I feel like anytime we doing something positive, and the next man doing something positive, the next woman doing something positive, we're not doing everything we can do to support that person, to build them up.
Because we want to make it first. We want to,
We
you know,
so thirsty.
we want to, yeah.
So-
So we want to pretend like, oh, you know, I want to be a part of this, but really you're scoping out what's beneficial to you to, you know, pull me down to climb up when we can both come up together, which will be much greater, you know.
Man.
We have to re-educate ourselves when
For
it
sure.
comes to having interpersonal relationships like that with one another. We have to constantly re-educate ourselves because everything that we've known originally is we're so far from that, and we make up our culture as we go.
For
You know,
sure.
black
For sure.
people in America, specifically our community, like we making things up as we go
Mhm.
because what we knew is no more. You know what I'm saying? Down to our last names. So being and then at a time like this where so many black people are starting businesses and we just having this boom of black renaissance, if you will. Technology has made it so much easier for us to to conduct business, to get involved. You see these startup businesses, these tech companies, a lot of stuff happening over computer. A lot of those secrets that were kept from us in terms of big business are now being let out.
For sure.
And instead of supporting one another, we want to bring each other down all the time.
Right. Like, how hard is it really for you to like my page, like my post, support me in that fashion?
Right.
You ain't got to send me no money. You ain't got to give me no
Yeah.
handouts. Support me by liking my page. View my videos. See what I have to say.
Exactly.
Share that. Like,
And yeah, no matter what we're
that
doing.
takes no effort.
Exactly.
You know?
And I feel like a lot of times people feel that if you're in the same type of business or whatever, they're like, okay, that's another reason. But we might not all bring the same thing to the table.
Right.
So by you just listening to one of our podcast segments, or even just liking the page, or looking at some of the designs that we have on the shirts and things like that, that might help you. That might be something that you might be like, okay,
Right.
how did y'all come up with that, or what is your meaning behind that? It could help you if you just take the time out to, like you said, like the page, watch a segment or two. You might become educated on something that you didn't even know.
Right.
Because everybody in every different organization might bring something different, and I think that's what I've learned too. Because before I became a part of Star SküL, my brand wasn't out there, but I still looked up other people's businesses,
Right.
people's businesses that I was a part, that I helped bring together, even though they might not support me, but I was there. I'm still gonna support you because I'm still behind that.
Right.
Period.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of like hip hop music. And no, seriously,
For
the
sure.
competitive part,
Oh,
because
yeah.
that's what it is. It's when you're looking at other businesses and you don't want to support them, and you kind of do the same thing. Maybe you know somebody else who does something too. It's a competitive thing, like.
And you lose sight of it.
Right.
Because now the rap ain't the same like it was before, but because everybody's so competitive,
Right,
it starts
right.
to turn into something
That's
mumbo
different
jumbo.
too, though.
No, I'm
But it's just an example.
I'm
No,
just saying
I'm
in
just-
terms of like we think the crabs in a barrel concept with us is in part coming from the fact that we think that it's not enough room for all of us.
Right.
And that's not the case. It is more than enough room for everybody to succeed. It's so much money out there. It's billions and billions of dollars split between
Right, let's go
10,
get
12 people or families or whatever. Like, versus everybody else getting just a little piece of the pie. Like, we think that it's not enough space for everybody to
Unlimited
come up,
resources.
right?
Yeah.
And it is. It's unlimited resources out here. Like, why can't everybody in this room, or everybody on this podcast or whatever, like, why can't we all, make it to the top and be what we want? Why does it have to be a 1 in 3 people will such and such? And it definitely comes from not.
Star SküL.
For sure.
It definitely comes
like-
from not supporting one.
It's like this. Like, this is our dinner table. Everybody eats. I'm not the only one eating here. It's like, and if I could just speak from a Star SküL perspective, like, shout out to everybody who gives all the positive feedback, all the support that we get, because we get a lot of it.
Support, yes.
But just thinking about my first real negative encounter, like, it really just frustrates me. Like, and at the end of the day, it motivates me, it fuels me. Like, it gets that fire burning, because that negative energy that came from somebody who looked like me. Somebody who old enough that could have been my dad, who's
Probably had the same dream.
I had the same type of upbringing I did from the struggle, allegedly. And they see me, and I tell them about my brand, I tell them about Star SküL and how we trying to affect change, how we trying to build a creative empire, and what he did was he tried to minimize what I was trying to do. Oh, that's cute. Oh, yeah, you got your little business cards. Oh, you got your little business labels on there. Well, no. Excuse me. This is a business.
And nothing about it is little.
This is a brand that we're building. No. It ain't there yet. We not. But we on our way. And you're not gonna stop us from getting there. But that negative, I don't want anything to do with you. Thank you. Appreciate
Thank you. Yeah.
And that support can go a long way.
And I feel like too, I always say, like, the people who support you, in a sense, I don't necessarily call them supporters. I consider you believers, because you might believe in what I am doing, and so ready for me to make it, so that is a part of you making it as well, because you believed in it. So I don't consider you a supporter, but just believing in the movement, believing in the culture, and that just believing that there could be change or whatever. Just believing, it goes a long way.
And putting together our culture, constantly changing and everything, I think one of the things that we do have to do in order to tackle this mentality is just it's just support one another. Like have as much pride in your people and your homies and your friends and people that you know or people who just look like you.
Yeah.
Have as much pride in their stuff as you do as
Gucci.
with designers that don't even live
that
there,
don't know you,
that ain't
don't care
making
about
nothing
you.
for you, that don't care about your community, not putting nothing back in your
Just want
community
that
or
money.
whatever.
What Jay-Z say? Why the hell would I drink Belvedere when Puff
That's
That's
a rock.
What I look
Exactly.
like?
That's just that mentality can change so many things. Like I care about that's how I am. You know what I'm saying? Like look, hey, sister, you know what I'm saying?
I'm doing this for you.
What you got
All of
going?
us.
Right.
Because the odds is against us, and we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it regardless.
Let's do it. Let's eat. Let's go.
Yeah.
I mean,
and sometimes go out your way about it. Sometimes go out your way to look for a black-owned business to have, because an experience that I had that changed my life forever when I was living in Illinois, and being on the South Side and seeing so many black businesses and so many black people do everything. I mean, they carpenters, you found your mechanic, the clothes store, the nail tech who wasn't, you know what I'm saying? Like it was so much, and I wasn't used to seeing all in one place like that.
Yeah.
You know, so sometimes you gotta go out your way to shop black and to, you know what I'm saying? You might have a good experience, you might have a bad experience, and that's another thing that we like to blame each other for. You know, like this is why I don't shop with black businesses.
No, I'm gonna tell you, listen, this is what I experienced. I don't want nobody else to experience that.
Right.
Because they're gonna bring you down instead of just giving you that tip, giving you that hint. Like when I came in, I experienced this. Maybe you should tweet that so that other people don't experience.
Let me inbox you.
Let me
reach
inbox
out to you.
And let you know
this could be better.
Exactly.
And don't let me blast you.
Don't blast me
on Facebook.
I'm shameless
Instagram.
about stuff like that.
Damn.
I will let you know. I'm
Damn.
shameless. I will hit you up because I feel, like I said, like I feel pride for that. I feel like, look, I know somebody who knows somebody, or I know somebody who do this or do that. Like what you need, I know somebody who does that. And that was one of the things that I was coming out of school. That was one of like my goals, and still to this day, like that's one of my goals. That's one of my dreams. Coming from a background where there are a lot of entrepreneurs in my family. You know what I'm saying? Being able to grow up and not see your father work for anybody else is such a strong. It makes such a difference in your mentality moving forward. That it's stuff that I didn't even realize that I felt until I really felt it.
Man,
you know?
Man, can we feel that one time? No, but yeah, I mean that's just what it comes down to, man.
Yeah.
It's all about showing love. Like that's it. Like we don't want no handouts. We gonna get it. We gonna grind it. We putting in work every day behind the scenes. We're not looking for favors, but support. Now, and let me explain something to you. If you thinking this might be you, but you're not sure, it's like this. This is what that crab in the barrel looks like. He's that person like, oh, your little podcast, or oh, it was cool or whatever. Or it could be that simple, that same person that's just sitting here like this, like, hey, I see you got them hot shirts. They look fire. Let me hold one of those. Can I get one of those for free? Hook me up. Hold on, wait a minute. I'm trying to build something here.
Right.
Why you put me in that situation, man?
This is a business. You ain't gonna go to the corner store and that ain't owned by people who look like you, but it's people who look like what else. And you're not gonna go in there and ask them for something for free. You ain't gonna go in there and ask them like how you had the audacity to come up to me and expect something. Like you trying to build, and you like that just go back to supporting people, right?
Because if you believe, you believe that $20 that you buy your shirt gonna go a long way.
That $25 shirt, this $50 hoodie, but you in a club, you spending $300 bottles. Come on, show love.
Right. We gotta change the way we think about stuff like that, because it wouldn't be that difficult, and we would, as a people overall, and the families of these businesses and these entrepreneurs, their children, you know what I'm saying, generational curses, we can help eliminate just by supporting one another. Simply supporting each other can make a huge difference. So, on that note,
what's the next topic?
Oh
yeah, okay. And that reminds me of this folk story I heard, you know, and that I learned a long time ago. See, there was a story. It's a story about Harriet Tubman. The first time she ever ran, like before she ran, she was sitting there in a dark hut that night with her sibling, her two of her brothers, two older brothers, and she's like, "Yo, hey, we can't do this no more. We gotta go. We're not gonna make it. Let's get out of here." And the two brothers looking at her like, I don't know, you know, master, he ain't that bad. He could be worse. And they like, no, we gotta go. We got better than this. We got bigger dreams than this. And Harriet Tubman sitting there trying her damnness to sit there and persuade them, like, let's go, we gotta do this, we can do this. So after days and days and days of trying to persuade them to make this run, to get out of here, we deserve better, she finally persuaded them. So after she persuaded them, they hit the road. After taps, everybody sleep, they out. They get 1 mile away, a whole mile away. And you gotta think, like the conditions that they was in back there, in slavery, barefooted, in the mud, whatever condition, probably starving, hungry, whatever else, a mile, that's an accomplishment, right?
That's definitely
well, how many miles did you have to freedom? About 500? How far did that Underground Railroad travel? Right. So in the grand scheme of things, that 1 mile wasn't anything at all, for real. When they hit that 1 mile, and when they get to that 1 mile mark, her brother's like, man, hell no, let's go back. We can't do it, man. You know what? If we go back right now, Master will forgive us, I'm sure. Harriet like, no, we too far. We come too far to turn back now. And she keeps going, she keeps trucking ahead, and she's trying to, but the whole time, every inch from there on, they're fighting her every inch of the way. Mm-hmm. They get caught the next day. Go back. And it was at that moment that Harriet Tubman said that she realized that you cannot make you want what I want. Mm-hmm. I can't put this fire in you. And then she decided that day that she was never, ever going to turn back. She was never, ever going to take somebody with her, exactly. Persuade you to come with me. I can't do it. If it ain't burning in me, like it's burning in me, if you don't feel that yearning for freedom like I'm feeling, then you can't go. I can't take you with me. And it was at that very moment. So never again did she ever take anybody else that she had to persuade to go with them.
Leave them behind.
And to me, that's just powerful, man. Mm-hmm. And I just love that. When I heard it, it stuck with me. Like, it stuck with me. Like, and that's how I feel.
Because most likely they wanted to make it to freedom, but they didn't want to put the work in. They just wanted to get the easy way out. Man. But she knew she was going to have to go, and she knew it was going to be a long road. It was going to be tough, hungry, all that. But you just really have to really believe and really want it, because it's not going to be easy. By any means, it's not going to be easy.
And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, because I'm sure the people who didn't want it that bad, like they were scared to do what they had to do.
Anything worth fighting for, working for is
anything worth having.
It's worth fighting for.
Seriously.
And I think that sums up what we go through every day behind the scenes at Star SküL. Yeah. And just building this brand, building this monster. Everybody,
Yeah. You can't force them to go with you.
Yeah.
We hope that they believe and see what's on the other side.
Man. Y'all done got me worked up. Now I'm getting hot. What's the
next
topic?
Okay, you can keep it worked out, because we're gonna go into something that's a little, we know you're gonna have both ends of the discussion with this one.
That's what I've been waiting for.
The topic is it racist for black people to only date black people?
Or just date your race?
Date your race, but we black. Okay. So, how do we as black people feel about that when black people only want to be with black people? Because it seems to be some type of negative connotation with that.
So you said, is it racist for black people to only date, want to only date black people?
Yeah.
Or anybody else, their race.
That's what I was saying. Like,
is that racist? Is that prejudice?
I don't think by any means it is. For some people, it might be. In their mind, they might want to only date because of their race, because they are racist. But I personally think you want to date somebody who most understands you, or you have most in common with. A lot of people don't know how to step outside their box. I'm one to just learning that. The last 2 years, I've been like, my goal is to step outside of my box, get out of my comfort zone.
There you go.
So a lot of people don't want to do that. They want to say what is comfortable for them. And I completely understand that, like I said, but it is. I don't think it is racist behind a lot of people. Me myself, I know for a fact I don't date just black people because I'm racist or anything. I just want somebody to be able to understand and be able to go with me, like, okay, and not fight me against everything. You know what I'm saying? Because somebody who might not be your race might be like, no, because they didn't experience it, or they probably didn't even hear about it.
Right.
So you personally, it sounds like you're saying that you're not the type to just be like, I'm only gonna date black person.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not the type of person. But I've only dated black people, but it's not because I'm racist. It's just because I haven't found somebody who was that interested in me, or I was that interested in them that was outside of my race. But it's not because I dislike you guys, or I'm racist. I'm open.
Hey, Smiley B's looking. But so you're saying that people who say I only date such and such because that's what I am, they are racist.
No, I don't think they're racist. I just think that some people don't have an understanding that they're just not comfortable. Some people have to understand what it is to step out of your comfort zone. And it puts you in a space where you're just like, what to do? What do I do? And it's just that. It's not, I don't think it's a lot of times that you're racist. And I don't think that anybody who has, I don't look at them like that. If I see white people, I think they just, that's what they understand right now. And eventually maybe it'll be open, you know, be open.
Queen, what you got?
Me on this? Well, I understand what racism actually is, so I don't think
what is that?
Racism. First of all, black people can't be racist by definition because racism involves a power structure. You can't be. If you don't have the power to actually influence or impact somebody's life based off what you think about them because of how they look, then you can't be racist. Can people be prejudiced? People can be prejudiced all day. You can be prejudiced towards paraplegics. You can be prejudiced towards short people. You can be prejudiced towards chocolate skinned people versus pale skinned people. You can be prejudiced all day, but if you can't actually make the decision of, does that school get funding? Does this person get a job? Where are these resources going to be had? Then you can't, by definition, by the official definition, you can't be racist. Now, bringing that into, you know, the conversation in terms of can black people, is it racist for black people or any other culture or whatever? It's not racist, first of all. Is it prejudice? No, it's not prejudice at all. I mean,
not a little bit.
No, why not? It's
for that person. He's trying to say, I think it's for that person. I don't think it's.
It's not prejudice at all. First of all, how do you create cultures in societies and groups of people without there being similarities based on biology? How does that happen? How do you get a whole continent of people who basically have the same race? How do you get Asians how do you get a whole race of Asians or a whole race of Indians or a whole race of Aboriginal people if they weren't procreating with one another? How do you get that? Because America is the only melting pot on the planet. This is the only place in the entire planet, and it's also the youngest country in the world. It's the only place on the entire planet where people are expected to be inclusive because this is supposed to be the place where everybody can come. Everywhere else on the planet, people are separated by race. Continents are separated by race. Europeans, who are white, pale-skinned people, come from Europe. African people, indigenous people, come from Africa. Russians are in Russia. Asians aren't Asia. Indians aren't Indians. They are in India. Like they're there. So America is the only place where everybody is supposed to be able to come and just get along with everybody and just be American. Even though, like we just mentioned in the previous discussion, we making this shit up as we go. So this isn't even something that's like, this is the youngest country in the world. This ain't even 500, this ain't even 1,000 years worth of history here. So I don't think it's prejudice or it's wrong at all. Like, how do you get more black people if black people don't want to procreate with black people?
What is wrong with him?
Like, I don't know.
He laughed.
I'm smiling.
I don't get it. Like, I don't think it's bad at all.
Okay. So, in response to what y'all just said, because I'm going to respond to you first because that's fresh in my mind. For one, I think anybody has the power to be racist. We might not have the power to act on our racism, but that's a different discussion.
But that's not the definition of racism. Racist, though.
What I think and what the definition of prejudice is to prejudge somebody based off of preconceived notions, not any personal experience or anything like that. So, to me, this question, which is, if I'm a black man and I want to only date black, does that make me racist? To me, at the very least, that question for anybody, any race, X race is want to date this race, just by definition is prejudice, because you're saying to me 100%, you're not an option for me as a Hispanic because you're not black. You are a beautiful person. We match, we mesh, we go together, yin yang over here, but we ain't in that thing because you ain't black.
But how do you get to that point where you mesh and you yin yang if you weren't planning on ever procreating or being with them in the first place?
Why wouldn't I?
How do you get there if that's not even something that you were open to?
Why would I not be open to that?
I'm saying
for
people who are not, for people
who
like,
are prejudiced.
not prejudice, no.
But just not open to it.
People like
who
me,
just don't.
who are not.
People who close-minded, is that what you're saying?
People like me who don't think it's necessary to go out of their way to go and find and search for someone who doesn't look like me. For people like that, how do I get to the point with a Hispanic person? Now, say I do meet one. Say I go out to college. Say we go to college, we work together or whatever, and I met this person. I'm already setting a boundary on how close I'm gonna let this person get to me because this isn't my ideal mate.
Yeah.
My ideal mate is a brother, is a black man who's like the black man in my family who raised me, protected me, looked out for me, hurt people for me, put me through college. Yes. Who helped me become the woman that I am today. And I'm not gonna bring them no Billy. How I'm gonna bring a Billy? I'm being honest. If it ain't real, we can't feel it. If it ain't real, we can't feel it. And you can't judge me because I can't bring home. I know a white guy named Billy. He liked me. Billy liked me. He was digging me. He thought I was all that. He just wanted to get to know me. I worked with him. He just was like in awe. Like it was weird for me. It was awkward for me because it's like, okay, bro, like we don't have that much in common.
But
you know what I'm saying?
Let's take it back what you said before the Billy, before we got the Billy.
What about Billy?
She just basically said, but I'm not gonna go out my way to find a mate, period. But I get what you're saying. She just basically, you're not open to that.
I'm about to say
even if you meet somebody who's trying to get to know you, you're going to pull along, and they're not going to have that much of a chance because they're not black.
We can be friends, but we're not gonna delve into a sexual relationship or anything more than an open, honest friendship. Like you could be friends with anybody without taking you. Just a female friendship is how I would look at a man of another race. Seriously, I'm not gonna take it. I'm serious. I'm not gonna take it. How far I would take it with my girlfriend, like my homie, my girlfriend who I go out with, I have drinks with, we go to parties, we talk, we text, we share things. That's the type of relationship that I would look at with a man of another race. Like I don't even see him.
Basically, but you do agree that you do have somewhat of a prejudice to any other race. Like they're not going to have that much of a
partner.
I think that I'm closed-minded when it comes to my partner.
Only
when it comes to race, because even first of all, black people are not monolithic at all anyway. It's not like
dumb that word down for me.
Monolithic. Every black man is not like the other black man.
Okay.
Black brothers have so much variety within them. I don't have to go to somebody else to get me a brother that's going. It's smart ones, it's goofy ones, it's rocket scientist ones, it's hood ones, it's ones in biker gangs.
On a sister who is though?
Am I looking down on? I'm not looking down on her, but it's obviously somewhere in her mind that we're not in the same place.
Oh, okay.
We're not in the same place. It's people in my family. My own brother procreated with a woman who's not black. You know what I'm saying? My whole nephew is mixed. And I have very candid conversations with her on what it is and how I feel. It ain't no secret. I'm also not gonna lie and hide. I'm happy it's funny. I'm also not gonna lie and hide. And just like I have conversations with her about my point of view and where I was at when I first met her before she even got pregnant, she already knew what it was. I don't understand why you're here. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand.
No, but I get the thing I love and respect about you is because like you are vocal about it and you're not gonna budge.
I'm not gonna budge.
So that's what's up. You own it and that's what matters. Because everybody do have their point of view.
Right.
Lamar is just laughing because he's like you're really going there and that's good. Mm-hmm.
If it ain't real, we can't feel it. But the reason I'm laughing because like I said in the beginning, I completely respect your opinion. I mean, and your belief on how you feel about the situation. Mm-hmm. But to me, it's like you're saying that we already agreed that you said you was a little closed-minded about who your partner.
I don't think it's necessary to date outside.
Or it's unnecessary.
It's not necessary, especially in the state black people are in now. So we need as many strong black families as we can get. We need to be on the forefront of building each other up to the highest extent without outsourcing or being outward of our community, because we need as many people who gonna stand up for us as humanly possible.
So yes, we do need many people stand up for us as possible. Now, to answer the question, to me, absolutely 100% prejudice it is. And that's just the way I feel about it, because anytime you exclude anybody from anything of a preconceived notion, and in this case it would be their skin tone. You know, not anything that they did to you, not anything that they said to you, anything like that. That's textbook definition of prejudice.
But am I prejudiced towards that? Am I prejudiced towards that
person? No.
That person?
That situation.
In that sense, and only when it comes to being your mate,
but
your partner.
because like you said, they can be your friend.
Yeah.
They can be your coworker. They can be your friend's friend. But in that situation, that relationship is just not going to happen.
Dynamic.
We're not crossing the line into procreation and marriage and all of that stuff, because it's just not necessary. But on that note, like, because the way I think about it is not a prejudice towards the other person or the other race. The way I think of it is so much love for myself and my race that it's impenetrable. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the same thing. To me, it's the same thing as like, you know, the Black Panther Party, for example. They were ostracized by the government. The government called them vigilantes, and you know, and dealt with them as such, even though that wasn't what it was. They weren't running up into white churches, shooting up the churches. They weren't doing that. They just had so much love and care and protection for their community that they was going to do what they needed to do to help their community, and everything else came secondary. So that's how I feel about it. Like, I don't feel like I don't have like a hate or a prejudice towards people for who they are, for being people. It's just I have so much love for my people that nothing or nobody else matters. I'm not concerned with those issues or what's going on over there, because I'm not concerned with what's going on outside the house so much as I'm concerned what's going on inside the house and what we eating for dinner. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's just the way sometimes that we even look at it, because because to me, like the way y'all just explained it with you know, that's a prejudiced notion, that's closed-minded and everything. Like at one point I'm like, kinda, but it's not really, because it don't really have nothing to do with the other race. I'm concerned with Black people.
See, and a lot of people feel like you feel. I mean, it's not nothing. That's not, you know, we're not sitting up here saying that you're a unicorn.
Yeah.
No, a lot of people feel like that. And like I told y'all earlier, I had this conversation on my Facebook, and it was a white girl, and she said, you know, and I had that same conversation from the opposite side. And a lot of people respond, well, I'm a Black person, I'm a Black man, I'm a Black woman, and I only date this, so therefore what she's saying is not racist. And to that I posed the question was this, and I posed the question. What she said was, I mean, quote exactly what she said. The post that I made was a white woman who said, apparently I'm a racist because I told somebody that I preferred to date in my race, because I only date in my race because I want my children to look like me.
That's not racist at all.
And people's response to that was, well, I'm Black, I want my Black kids to look like me, so it's cool. And my thing was, okay, but now let's use that same exact logic and let's change the scenario. You're at a restaurant. You work at a restaurant. You're a server. You pull up to the table. Good evening, ma'am. How may I help you? Would I start with drinks, or are you ready for hors d'oeuvres, whatever it is? And that person responds to you, oh, I'm sorry. I prefer to be served by someone who looks like me.
That's not the same as procreation and interpersonal relationships.
That is the same.
You're equating, but didn't I also just say that getting to know people and befriending people, no matter what, is different from choosing a mate for life? Choosing a mate for life is not the same as working with a white person, dealing or working with an Asian guy. Like if my coworker or my classmate or my teacher is Asian or Hungarian or Turkish, that's not wrong. I'm not going to not want to be in that classroom. I'm not going to not want to talk to them. I'm just not going to want to marry them. Like, how do you, if
So this person could be your soulmate. Like, because I'm a firm believer in not blocking my blessings.
And that just goes to love, genuine love. Like I said, that first segment, it is love. But everybody is entitled to feel how they feel. Exactly. And a lot of people, I was going to say too, women, like, you know, Black women don't know the history. And it doesn't mean that much to them. They're living, you know, a lot of people don't have the knowledge. So to them, like, it's just them living their life, and they're making it up as they go.
Choices.
And that's just, and you hit on that, and that's what made me think of that.
I mean, because she said Obama too. She hit on Obama too. Like, we already know Obama the minority president. Like, not because he was black, but because he won strictly and solely off of the minority vote, which was women, Hispanics, Muslims, black people, every minority category across the board. He won that, and I think that is the epitome of where we at today in America, being 2017, about to be 2018, where and you also said earlier that we are who we raised by. You know, so what we learned at home, that's what we're bringing home. And a lot of our people are old school, they're old fashioned. Right. They was born in, and they came up in the 60s, they came up in the 70s, the 80s, the 30s, whatever.
And it was only that race and that culture.
And now we're that melting pot. And now we are, like you said, like the melting pot. Like, we're all together. We're not, you know, we got Mexicans next to me, Hispanics, we got white people, we got Europeans, Italian, all at the same classroom, sitting at the same table. Some schools, and at that scenario, I'm not going out my way. I'm going to class, and I met you, and I was like, "Dang, girl, how you?" And so it's just different schools of thoughts, you know. And it's one of the things that we'll agree to disagree on. And we don't even have to agree to disagree on it, because our taste is our taste. Your cup is yours, mine is mine.
So, what do you think about the older ancient civilizations and countries? If it's not cool, because those people were world travelers, you know what I'm saying? If you think of from a religious or scientific point of view, I think we all can agree that indigenous people are African people, and Pangea was one whole continent mass, and then it broke off, and then other continents ensued, and then people started having other hues of skin tone, right? So what is it for people?
You just said a whole lot.
Okay, sorry. Let me bring it back down surface level. So, is it wrong then for all the other older continents in the world to go about how they procreate and how they live, because they should be Africans should be open to procreating with an Asian, because that's just the way the world should be?
Okay, so let's be real, because we know in Africa in South Africa, they're predominantly what color? Black or white? That's predominantly white people in South Africa. White Africans in South Africa.
Okay.
So in Africa, it's already happening as far. And granted, we know because the slave trade.
Okay, I'm about to say, if we know that those people migrated there out of respect or love for the culture, but they went there because they saw things that they could take and they could have. That's not what's the point? They're not from there.
I'm about to say my ninth grade teacher was a white South African teacher. Like,
my first employers were Turkish nationalists. And they have a beautiful culture, and they loved me, and they respected me, and they treated me with the utmost. I've been inside some of their homes, met their children. They cooked for me. They were wonderful, great people. You always use it for references. I can call somebody up right now if I need anything. I have a great relationship with this particular group of people.
Now, and you said so.
Great people.
You asked about
I asked, was it wrong because you think that it's prejudice or it's racist for people to only date and procreate within their race? Is it wrong then the way the world is set up with people being separated by continent based on race? Is that wrong then? Is that a mistake? Did God make a mistake?
The Almighty makes no mistakes. That's what I firmly believe, but I'm very religious and I know everybody isn't. But no, and if we're gonna talk about that, then we're gonna have to get into a whole deeper conversation. And back to the point of why our skin tones were what they were based off of where we were geographically. You know, we were closer to the equator, so we was gonna be more exposed to the sun. So we had to have darker skin that was more resilient to. I mean, it's getting to a whole different thing.
But that's not really the point, because I mean, whether you're at North Africa or South Africa, you're African, right? And whether you're in East or Western Asia, you're Asian, right? And then when it comes to America, we're all American, but we don't have the same background like Africans or Asians or Europeans or Indians. We don't have that same background. Everybody's not the same here. There are people who come from all over the world here, whether they wanted to or ancestrally or slaves or whatever. We not all black. Everybody in America is not black. Everybody in America is not white. Everybody in America is not Hispanic. But when you go to South America, they're South Americans, they're Brazilians, they're Argentinians, and they have that. They have monolithic cultures there. All over the world, they have monolithic cultures, and they have central religions, they have central school system. Everything kind of works within a system, and everybody mostly, for the most part, looks the same. They look the same. They speak the same languages. A lot of the times they have the same, not just geographical background, but economical background. They're mostly the same. America is the only place on the planet where you get people who feel that if they're not inclusive, which means exactly how you feel. Because I'm black and I don't desire to date outside my race. I just don't have a desire to do that. Because of that, that makes me prejudiced. And this is the only place in the world where people can have that thought. This is the only place in the world, because everywhere else is the same by default.
Okay, so I get it. I get what you're saying.
No, I get what you're saying. I don't think that you're prejudiced. I don't think that we're trying to say you're prejudiced. No. But the situation in itself is a prejudice. Like, it's like the choice of it, like, right. Not the choice, but you get what I'm saying? Like, it's not that you're prejudiced by any means, because, like you said, you can coexist with these people and love these people genuinely, right. But not in your bedroom, right. Not in your life, yeah. And that's not, doesn't make you as a person prejudiced.
I think you hearing prejudice and you automatically take it as a negative thing. But we all have prejudice. Everything we all have prejudice.
It started off as racist though, and the only reason we moved that off the table was because
that's why I said that.
It is, because it's just like, you know, I think we do, because I know I hear a lot of people say, like, you know, just like when we say like how the Somalians, they can't drive. People automatically say all Somalians can't drive because they run around here crashing people. That's kind of like a prejudgment. No, you know what I'm saying?
But that's
because
an example.
I'm not going to think that everybody that
right.
Even if
Somalian can't drive.
Even about the hood,
even
like,
they have a reason not to be
simple
better
stuff,
drivers.
Right?
They learning English is.
But I get what you're saying. Everybody has some sort of prejudice, choice, and outlook on something in their life. Yeah.
And prejudice are good and bad. I mean, it's just that's a fact of life. Like it's not. That's why that's the difference between, in my opinion, between racism and prejudice. Like, prejudice, yes, prejudice can lead to racism, but prejudice, we all have them. Like, if I'm in the hood, I know I might need to bring my 40, you know, or you know, just that concept. Like, oh, where you live at? Okay,
don't leave your car
I'm gonna bring my thing. Okay, I'm gonna lock my doors because I'm in such and such neighborhood. Those are all prejudice. But
for sure.
So it's wrong for an Asian to only date Asians. Even though, they speak the same language,
it's not wrong.
They have a lot of the same culture.
It's not wrong.
They have a lot of the same experiences.
I say you're using wrong.
It's not.
Okay, prejudice. Even though, I mean, prejudice is not.
But no,
prejudice isn't a positive thing.
There's good and bad prejudice.
I don't think they're good prejudice.
There are.
They're.
You didn't get your car stolen because you locked it because you knew you was in that neighborhood. Like, that's a prejudice. Like, oh, you going on Livingston?
That's not a prejudice.
I'm going to Livingston. You better lock your car up. You locked it up. You didn't get it stolen.
That's not a prejudice. That's a demographic assumption that you're making based off demographics.
So is your relationship.
But I'm gonna lock my car whether I'm in the suburbs or if I'm in the hood.
Well, it doesn't apply then in that case. But in the scenario I'm using, if you don't usually lock your car, and I tell you, oh, you come into my house, hey, make sure you lock it up. Because I heard it's rough over there. So the preconceived notion is
prejudice?
That you're gonna get your car broken.
Is it prejudice if people do get their car broken in?
Maybe they don't though.
In those neighborhoods?
Maybe that's just the preconceived notion.
And that's the preconceived notion because what?
Because you heard it was rough over there.
And is it rough over there, or is that's just something that?
But you might not experience.
You won't know that unless you do the research and look it up.
A lot of places where people said it was bad, but my car didn't get stolen.
Prejudice is not is preconceived notions is not based on experience or any
type of fact. That's what
So if I say that without looking it up, without knowing that happened,
because the person can tell you it's rough in Livingston, but they never experienced the roughness. But they're just saying that.
So if they look it up and they look at the statistics of crime rates,
then it's a fact.
Then it's a fact.
It's a fact.
But that doesn't make it not the truth. That's based on
The whole point was just to make an example that prejudice can be anything.
So this is the last question is like basically, do you feel like if you did date an Indian, say you dated an Indian, do you think that you can't live happy ever after with this as you could with a black man? That's just what I want to know.
If he matched compatibly, like,
and he
was dominant,
swept you off your feet.
like a black man that you
he became,
envision, you know?
he's here, so he became more Americanized, but he's still never going to be.
He was raised with those same cultural.
But do you think that you can't have a happy?
You're a great person and all, but you know, you just.
I don't think that I couldn't have happy life with anybody else just based on the fact that I have friends of a lot of different cultures and backgrounds anyway. And I know a lot of people who don't come from the same things that I come from, don't have the same values, don't have the same history. And so I don't think that that's impossible. Okay. But I'm not, my thing is I'm not concerned with that in the first place. Okay. I'm not gonna like I said before, but it's enough black men around. It's enough brothers who can give me enough variety. Y'all look different, y'all act different, y'all talk different, y'all walk different. Y'all genetics is different, y'all come from different backgrounds, y'all mamas is different, y'all daddies is different. Some of y'all don't have daddies, some of y'all don't have mamas. Right. Like y'all come in so many different shapes and sizes. It's no reason for me to feel like I'm missing anything. Exactly. I'm not missing nothing. I love black men.
Easy day.
I'm not missing anything. But and the only reason I gotta bring that up again is because it wouldn't get to that point for me.
No, but it makes sense, and that's what I'm saying. Like, and that's where it's different because I'm open to it. If a man can make me happy, regardless of where you come from, or if you know what I'm saying. Period. If you can make me happy and you genuinely love me and you have all hopes and goods for me, I'm open to that. But I get what you're saying. Yeah, you got, and I'm not looking for you. I'm not looking for nobody
with a similar experience we can raise our children with as less. It's already one thing trying to get on the same page with somebody you do have a cultural same background with or whatever, speak the same language, let alone somebody from a totally different world. I mean, and that's what I think friends are for. You know, you mentioned the word soulmate earlier. I personally believe that a soulmate is not just a sexual partner. You have soulmates and best friends. You have people who your soul connects to, and you know what I'm saying? You have soulmates and more than just somebody that you want to have sex with and procreate with. I think my best friend, my girlfriend Tia, that's one of my soulmates. Because nothing can separate my friendship. Nothing can separate us from each other. We're good for one another mentally and emotionally. That's my friend. You know what I'm saying? She cares about me. We go months, weeks sometimes without talking. And then we come back together and it's all Gucci.
And you said her name Tia?
Tiara.
Shout out to Tiara, man. That's powerful. I hope my baby, my lady talks about me like that. But you know, on that note, that leads me to the next topic, which is polygamy.
Oh.
Now, if you already got a best friend that's a soulmate, and you already got a strong black king in your life, that might be an easy transition to do the whole the whole polygamy thing, right? Just
no.
So how do you feel
that
about
might not be an easy transition. Okay, first
not putting Tierra on the spot, but I'm just saying cause
the situation.
Yeah, we got a lot of single parents out here, a lot of families that don't got men in the household. And a lot of people, and these are a lot of white people, say that the problem is not racism, but that's a different conversation. We're not going to have that right now. But they say the problem is that these families, we have too many families without a man in the household, a real man that's in the household, really raising up these kids and these families. And with that type of thinking out here, is it time to consider polygamy?
I don't think that we're at a point where it's time to consider polygamy. I think that we are at a point where it's time to consider black men stepping up for their friends, for their homies, for their little cousins, and they, you know, households with single mothers that they see that can use that influence. I think that that's absolutely necessary, and I think that that's one of those quote-unquote old school values that we used to hold true to that we don't really do anymore, that could use us some good. But I don't think we're at a point where polygamy is necessary. I don't think we're at a point where there's a shortage of women or even a shortage of men, to be honest. I mean, granted, when it comes to black people, our populations are skewed. We got so many people in jails and in prisons and, you know, in the system, federally can't do certain things. But
60 years.
Sweet. But I don't think that we're at that. Now, if it's time for war, and I mean, even though we are at war, I mean, our community is constantly it's a constant uphill battle when it comes to black people. But if it comes to a point where like we were talking about health and how black women, if it comes to a point where we just start dropping like flies, and you know what I'm saying, then maybe, but
you ain't with it.
I don't think it's a case where it's actually needed. I mean, a lot of women, we make it, and we can be happy. We don't have to be married to a man and be a fourth wife because we don't have a man in the household. I just think that just continue to believe that everything, your happiness is determined by you. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You can still be happy. Mm-hmm. You still can live. You can still go on day to day. You don't have to have a man. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to settle to be a third, fourth wife because there's not enough men want to step up and be married to a woman, be in household.
You keep throwing out that third, fourth. You know, polygamy, more than one. You know.
Okay, two. I mean, I'm not being nobody's. If I'm not your only wife, we ain't married.
Okay, I mean, everybody don't know y'all's background, our background. You know, I'm happily in a situation that's thriving and well. You know, you're good. You know, you're spoken for. Mm-hmm. Smiley be available, y'all. Hey, But what I'm saying is, let me say, I am a strong black man. I'm a real good man. Like, I think so. And I think my woman thinks so too. You know, shout out to her. But even though we always edit out my shout outs. But anyways, you know, I think you got a really good dude, you know, like a really good dude. Like and with that being said, I know a lot of really good women out here with a lot of not so good dudes. Like, ain't shit, you know what I'm talking about? Like, a lot of that. There's a lot of that going on. And if you look at the hood, you know, like, if you really just look at the hood, like, me and you, where we grew up, your dad was, like, the only dad in the whole entire hood. Like, he was the only person in the whole entire hood that had a dad. Granted, he was a single dad, but there was no other dads. There was not one other dad in the whole entire hood. And we're talking about over 50, 60, 70 units, like, and
shout out that.
Man, shout out to that dude, man. But, you know, how much better would that neighborhood have been if we got daddies at home holding kids accountable, whooping, you know, tearing it up.
Yeah, because even though I didn't agree with a lot of stuff that, you know, how my dad did things, and he molded me to be the woman that I am today. He molded me to respect myself, even though he might not have showed me respecting other women. But it was one of those things where it's like, do as I say, not as I do, or, you know, except, you know, but, and I thank him for that and a lot of things. And I've always told my dad that no matter how many disagreements we've had, no matter how much pressure he put on me or, you know, responsibilities he put on me, I always respect him for making me value myself as a woman. And just being in certain situations tue. You know, I had to go through those, even though I know his word was good for it, but I just had to go through situations to be able to say he was right.
Right. Like we always do with our parents. I mean, on the whole note of polygamy, because even in that example, first of all, polygamy calls for there to be one man to multiple women. So,
in this example, absolutely.
Yeah, so for there to be one man, isn't it? It's a different term if it's woman with multiple husbands.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a different word for that.
Okay.
But anyway.
We don't care about that word.
Of course he doesn't. So, I don't think that that's necessary. I just think that, like, men, because it's supposed to be for the children, right? Isn't it supposed to be something where it helps? Because that was what you were initially saying.
I'm saying that like it helps. One of the main benefits for the community, the culture.
But you can't be in more than one place at a time. You know what I'm saying? You might have to put this baby to sleep, rock this, you know, read this baby a bed story.
Let's change the topic real quick.
Help. Yeah. She gonna watch this, Kelsey Boo.
I think that it'll be even more beneficial for us and even more of an immediate benefit for our community if there were a lot more black men who were responsible, who were good guys,
for sure,
that would take care of their business and look out for those, like you said, you know, plenty of chicks who with guys who not such and such. Now if they have children, you know what I'm saying, and so as long as it's not a situation where you stepping on anybody's toes or you doing things inappropriate, like my dad, for example. I'm gonna use my daddy for example. My dad was a single father too, and he raised me, and it was just me and him. But my father was a father and an uncle to so many more people and so many more children. Like people who are not technically blood related to me till this day. Like that's Uncle Herb, because he looked out. Because when he was, before I was here, and he was a single man, he was a bachelor, he was doing his thing. You know what I'm saying? He was a photographer. He got his own spot. He hot. He popping. He got all of right. He got all of these female friends. You know what I'm saying? And women like till this day they're friends. Like my dad was there for him. Like my best girlfriend Tiara, for example, I just spoke on her. I call her my cousin, but we're not blood related. Her dad and my mom were friends in high school, and my dad looked out for them as children, and her as his female friend. Like, you know, not all platonic. It don't have to be no sexual thing, but if she needed something, y'all know, everybody knew they could call my dad.
See,
you know
now,
what I'm saying?
and that right there, honestly, now that sounds like a very simple solution.
Yeah.
It sounds like a very straightforward solution that will really make, you know, progress today. Like we started that today.
Right.
But now let me give you the other side of it. As a man, you know, my woman don't want me helping take care of this woman's son.
For sure.
Like maybe she don't feel
If it's
comfortable
not
with that.
family.
Like, as women,
And there is a lot of
like
women.
that?
I think it just depends because you know, my non-perfect. That's what I want to do. I want to help women. So in help and need, like single mothers and different things like that.
Yeah.
No matter the age, the race, or anything of that sort.
Yeah.
But it just depends. I feel like if we can do that, and we can do that, if you can, you know what I'm saying. If we can definitely help that person, and you're, you know, my husband, my boyfriend, my fiance, or whatever. And I trust you, and I know that your meaning behind that is solely just to benefit and help this woman.
Yeah.
Please do. Please do. I'm not going to stop you from helping a woman just like me who I want to help down the line. But because you might be able to do that, I'm not going to stop that. I trust you as a man. And I feel like if it's not taking food off our table, if it's not taking money from our bills and our things like that, why not?
Yeah, and it's different ways to do that. Cause like,
for sure.
Even like, okay, I will say in my example, my dad, he was a single man. So he didn't have to worry about what his girlfriend or whatever would think if he was helping Shorty down the street, you know, make sure her son got home. So what I would say though is there are different ways for you to do that. You could get involved in the community centers and go, you know, a volunteer to help coach
carpool.
Or you know, carpool stuff, like especially if you in your situation you have a son, you know, or two of them, but you have children, so maybe you want to get involved in their lives to a point where now you're impacting other children along the way because they see, you know, Mr. Lamar, he picked us up, he was our coach, he was a positive role model in my life. Sometimes you know, if it's about the children, it doesn't.
That soccer team won 6 games.
Yeah.
Won 6 days.
Right. Like if it's something like that and it's for the children, it's different ways to help get involved and be a positive influence in children's lives, but without having to have that awkward, you know what I'm saying? And I think it's also boundaries, like Smiley was saying, like you don't, as long as it's not taking anything away from our home and our family or whatever, and I'm involved to an extent where I know what's going on, you know, like I know you do carpools or whatever, I know when after school you at home already, so you just looking out the window, making sure everybody getting the house and everything, like stuff like that. I think that's totally possible.
Man, I'm telling you like this, man, straight up, like it's like we all said, you know, the trust, all that good thing. Trust is absolutely important, you know. Soon as, if my woman ever come to me and say, you know what, babe, I feel like we need to really, you know, give this polygamy thing a second look. Who am I to be like, I'm not comfortable with that, you know. So, you know, if she ever start trusting me enough to do that, I guarantee you, I will not let her down. Okay.
Oh, God.
All right.
I guess.
Black girl blush.
I think we killed it a little bit today.
We did, and I was so excited to show.
And shout out to the Black Girl Blush.
Yes.
You know, can we get a close up on this?
Yes, baby.
Yeah. Hey.
Because once again,
$25. You know, this could be you, BGB. Be that beautiful black girl blushing. You know, Queen always gushing about our beautiful black queens and kings.
Yes.
BGB, this for you. This for you. If you feel like Queen out here, this is what you want. Black Girl Blush.
Black Girl Blush, along with all of our other brand new Star SküL apparel. We got the hoodies in. They said I'd be a statistic, but God. And we also have tie-dye shirts. We got some black shirts. We got some white shirts. We got some long sleeve stuff.
We got some photo shoots coming up soon.
Yes.
Hey, y'all stay tuned.
Yes, please be on the lookout. We got some great things cooking for you guys. And just want to thank everybody who tuned in to the live. Thank you guys for commenting, for chiming in, for letting us know what you think.
Shout out to Jelani. He in the house with us tonight. Hey. Awesome time.
Yes, we'll be back at you guys really, really soon with another discussion. You're kicking it here with us at Star SküL. Bye.